Sure. Yeah. Ketramose is pretty cool like that. Hello everyone, and welcome back. And we are going to be playing a very interesting deck, playing Orzhov kind of back-to-back days, but I am playing on the fact of what I said yesterday, and we are doing the Ketramose, the New Dawn kind of synergy with the Chosen by Valgavoth. This is, I believe, with great power ... I think that's the correct card, but I could be wrong. But we enchant a creature we control, gets +2/+2 for each aura and equipment attached to it. All damage that would be dealt to it is dealt to enchanted creature instead. So if we get lightning strike, if we get hit by a creature, if we deal damage to ourselves somehow, not lose life does get around this, but Ketramose will then tank all that damage for us because it is indestructible. So it can't attack or block unless there are 7 more cards in exile. That counts our graveyard as well. I did kind of forget that throughout the video. Whenever 1 or more cards are put in exile from the graveyard from the battlefield this turn, we draw a card and lose life. So it's a very good way to keep our hand full, and it also becomes this kind of unkillable, makes us kind of that unkillable threat for the entire game with Ketramose and this online. You'll see that against Mono Red, where they go 7 turns unable to literally do anything. Mono Red just is unable to play the game at all. Other than that, we are here to hunt creature decks and hit them over the head with a frying pan the best we can. If they play a creature, we are here to exile it, kill it, remove it, get it off the battlefield in any way possible. And that's what our entire deck is. It does make us a little soft to control, but when we have a very high win rate against aggro, we can climb pretty easily. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive in. All right, we get to go first. We will keep this hand. We have kind of everything we want to an extent. We get a scry, we get an exile if we want to. We can Ketramose, and then exile, start drawing. We can Ultima, things like that. This is a destroy, not an exile, so, you know, obviously got good stuff going on there. Green, white, and the land that attacks and makes creatures seems a bit weird. But, oh, and I say that because it's typically a deck that plays a lot of 1-drops if they're playing this land. Alright. Or a 1-drop, sure. Go get a land, that's fine. Ketramose, attack for 1. Do have the kind of card that stops it. They have to shelter it, of course, but okay. Landfall and lanterns make a 2/2, sure. Fine with me. It's a weird deck so far. Warp that away to make 2 creatures. That's okay with me. Sure. Let's do this. Go ahead. Obviously, Shelter by Ghost or something can come, but that's why we have Ultima. Just not really having protection does suck in the long run, to be honest. Yeah. You can start by playing your land if you'd like. I think it's cool, but do you think the deck with Shelter by Ghosts is probably not going to care? Now they have to think about what they want to do. In terms of combat, they shock that in. They say nice and go immediately into... Okay, what was the point? It's just like, sure, man, I guess. This goes to exile, right? Like, very cool play. Destroy it. Deal, I guess. I have maps, and if I draw Caretaker's Talent, I can copy a map. It's only on my turn I draw a card, by the way. I forgot that when I said it out loud. Please don't make fun of me. I will accept that deal, that's for sure. Next, in turn. We'll just pop his Carrot Cake to make a token, so when I play Caretaker's Talent, I can then make and draw a card. Could do this here, but I don't know. It's a bit weird. That's the way we can kind of draw and get to a land. When you cycle this card, crash control gain, hexproof and indestructible. Third it, sure. You're going for consistent creatures. They are. Okay. Gain 3. Basically kind of negate all this that's happened thus far. We'll draw the Caretaker's Talent. We'll then activate here. We'll target, obviously, our rabbit, I guess. Make it a second authority, which is pretty cool. We'll attack for 1. At some point, we'll get enough cards in their exile that Ketramose will be turned on. If not, I probably need to build the deck a bit different. Yeah, commit everything. Parade them all, dude. This is sick, though. To be fair, objectively. Team rip my authority after. I guess I still have to draw a land. Now that I'm realizing that. But a land I draw indeed. Why not just like play here, play authority, like exile this, take a draw, seam rip their seam rip. Kind of funny, to be honest, to do that. Sure, I guess. Seam rip their seam rip. So now if they make anything, I just gain 2 life. And we hold, do some good blocks. We betrayal, exile their whole graveyard. It's just 2 cards because these are in a different zone. That's the best part about the warp cards when you get into late games like this. Is obviously they're just really strong in spots like these. Gain 2. Unless, of course, we could deadly cover up something at some point, but... Gain 4. Using their creatures against them a bit here. Sure. Gain 6. Total. 7, 8 in total. I mean... If I'm removing everything next turn with an Ultima, I might as well block like that, right? Getting a land is pretty huge here. Could upgrade, could do a lot of things. That's just Ultima. Not really an option there. Then we go for Strategic Betrayal. Every land's still just good for them, which is obviously hard to deal with. Sure. Sure. More and more. Okay, they leave the creatures. Interesting. Not entirely sure I'm fully on board, but let's do this. Did you just draw 1? Yeah, okay. For some reason I thought it was more than just a draw 1. Now it should be just play a swamp because we have the mana to do so. And then for me, obviously, attack for 6 is just good. And I'll say go ahead. We'll make a little token if we have to. Sure. Double draw. Or double life gain, not double draw. I know how to play this game, dude. I know what I'm talking about. I know nothing. I actually know nothing. Oh, that's a pretty good card to grab here. Just explore a trillion. Definitely not a bad play by any means. You might as well barrel it because you probably can barrel another one next turn, right? 4 for 3. Everything gets also large here. Getting a million life though. Nah, come on. Isaiah, you don't mean that. You also don't mean that. You really don't. Don't mean that. We'll take 1 life to draw a card and just block 3 damage, I think. I think that seems good to me. Just 1 mana plains creature was... Sure. See if this is good enough. also indestructible, so get in there. Gotta block something. It's indestructible. I wouldn't do that. Oh, you have to. It's minutes. Never mind. You have to do that. No. We definitely want to kill the larger creature if I'm gonna kill one of those creatures. I understand this has vigilance, but they untap anyway with virtue, so that doesn't really matter. Untap. Not untap. Sure. Uh-huh. I'm at like 45 because these authorities, and the damage doesn't even matter. Isn't that nuts? And to them, it's like, well, we can't do anything, so damage don't matter. We'll take extra draws. We'll go ahead and surveil here. Carrot cake's pretty solid. Go ahead and draw the carrot cake. Seems like a good play to me. Lay carrot cake down. Good. Combat. I don't know how this is worded. Sure. You guys want to see a cool trick if they double block here? I got a really cool thing to do. So watch this. We assign no damage to that. It lives. So now nothing gets huge. And the reason that matters in case they do answer this with like an exile effect or like a shelter by ghost or something, right? If they can answer it fully, then we have a lot of problems with this. Obviously, we have 50 some life, but these get huge quick because it's power to each. So these immediately become 8/8s, and 16 cuts into 53 pretty fast. This dies on these, right? Oh. Kind of whatever. Top card's pretty decent, though. Like, not opposed to the top card. Sure. They're still expensive mana wise. Seems fun. Do this. Eventually, anyway. Here. Now that these are 5/5s, it's like even weirder because if he double blocks with them, I don't have to kill either of them. I could technically like 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could just do it where I exile one of the side ones, right? Like one of these. Get rid of the actual one here. Sure. And then I can actually answer both of these, and this will just go to 10, I guess. Like, which is a lot, but it's one creature, right? That's nowhere near as dangerous as what it could be. I have an 8/8. Green-white. Again. Shelter by Ghost is a card that they can play. So in turn, creature paying power and number of towns. They control no towns, right? Another land, another creature. Even though they all untap because of the virtue. That's the main problem, is even lands just aren't dead draws right now. Sure. They're just growing their thing. Basically, they're getting their board big enough that they can eventually just one-shot me, is the idea. At least it has to be the idea, right? I'm not even sure I need to. Go here. Only artifacts and creatures, so our enchantments stay. I'm at 68 life, man. Yo. I do think my favorite part is I just immediately get to go right into doing the exact same thing if they even answer what I'm doing. Now they have to double block here if they want to. Could have thrown another one on it, but that's just wrong, obviously. And now I get to answer this creature, of course. Now they have to keep this up along with this. If they don't, I just get to kind of do the thing. I'm at 75. I didn't think 75 was the range of life I was going to gain with this deck. But what a long, drug-out game. They had to have answers somewhere. Like, they definitely had a get lost, things like that. Opponent first. Carrot Cake. Maybe go into Pinnacle. Who knows? Ah. 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 Sure. Sure. Alright. I would like to have you play your Screaming Nemesis. I want to exile it, and then I want to Pinnacle your board. Okay. Maybe not. Alright. Deal. Feel kind of. I don't feel great. Quite frankly, feel a little sick. Can't really do Ketramose until we're actually ready to win. And by win, I mean be able to set it in front of my opponent so they can't do anything to me. Just exile both. 3. It's every time, bro. Unfortunately, no land here does suck, because I'm not going to let Screaming Nemesis hit me again, especially not even Carrot Caking. Get rid of it. Ketramose is a good card. Not the card that wins us the game. I know that much. Not against Mono Red, at least. Authority. Carrot. Now, Authority can cause a lot of problems for our opponent. Thankfully, there's no Braid coming out to get the Star Cage. Sure. A land's good. Fair enough. Their things should enter tapped. So we're going to do this. Trade a 1-1.
Living or dead.
Sure, we'll do this.
Aha! Another clue.
I don't even want land right now. I want the attachment. Or a way to get Ketramose online. Obviously. Ah. I mean, I can block it, technically. Trade a 1-1. I mean, I guess I just make 2 blockers, right? Suppose.
I could use a little help.
One of our blockers does gain us 3 life. See? Scared, dude? What you gonna do? Attack me? I mean, I could have cracked Carrot Cake and exiled it that way, I suppose. Might just do that this turn. Ah. What? Yes.
Everyone peace.
Now we'll play Ketramose so we can block with it. That does fit the means of destruction. Or we can attack with it, which also works. Ketramose, hit them. Hit them now.
Huh.
Oh, bad.
Got the perfect vantage.
This one. So, first part about exiling everything is deadly cover up doesn't work. Get in. I'll just make one once. I'm defending myself. I'm trying to end this game. What a tragic tale this has become. And now I'm away too safe of a life total.
A breakthrough.
Yep. Oh, I could do this. Sure. Bada bing, bada boom. Crawling out of the game from the depths of despair. Honestly, thanks to authority for the most part. Kaya is weirdly a strong card. It's that thing where Kaya's probably not good enough to play like 2 to like 3 definitely no, but 2 like almost feels like too many. But every time I play it, it just feels good. This is right here is why I can't play too many copies of Kaya. Artifacts. Okay, interesting. No. Authority is good against artifacts because that means they can't just like make all the things and instantly one shot. Maybe it's not. I have no idea. Carrot cake. Jock that all in just to do something, huh? I'll keep another caretaker's talent because I want to. Have at thee. Have at thee 1 damage. Play a card that you'll counterspell or bounce back to my hand. Into the flood maul. Oh, this is omniscience. Has to be, right? That's the only reason you're playing this over. Has to be. There's just no other. There's nothing else in my mind that tells me otherwise. I refuse. Which is kind of where we want to get Kaya down, I would assume. Well, I guess we'll wait a turn. But these land draws have been pretty clutch. We'll keep attacking. Caretaker talent can get pretty sneaky because you can like crack this, make an extra token go to 3, level this all the way up, and then that's immediately 9 damage. It gets pretty wild pretty fast. The only problem is if they play a Kona, I have to be able to answer it. Which is exactly what they're doing. And no land draw here, which is tough. Which means they're going to be able to play a Kona. And just put in an omniscience, and I can't really do anything about it. I guess I should just go for max value then. Do they have a counter spell? I don't know. Sure. I feel like they have a Kona in hand, to be honest with you, but I don't find it. I would say if I don't find a land anyway, I'll never be able to ride it. Oh wait, no, I could have done it because they tap it. Oh my gosh, because I get to respond. It's not instantly as it becomes tap. Whatever, bro. Whatever, bro. I don't care. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care. I don't care that I could just remove the Kona on exile. I don't care that I didn't think about that. Somehow, people watching, it's your fault. Can you imagine? I'm not toxic, I swear. You play counter magic though. I kind of need to keep track of which ones they've been using. They don't seem to have it. Do I go for Kaya and then plus it? That's just full level up there. I can also just crack the carrot cake. So I can ride in, crack carrot cake, draw kind of all that stuff then. Guess I can just do it now, right? I do want to draw a card. Maybe not that card. Okay, maybe that card though. You know, fair is fair. And what I was saying before, like right now I have 9 damage on board. I could have 12 potentially if I make another creature and get to play this and level them all the way up. So, you know. It is what it is. A lot of ways to tap. I cannot believe I just like about let that happen. Alright, deal. I'm not pumped about it either. Sure. I have enough for Kaya double rides in? I don't. Try though. Why not?
This will be
Yes, I'm sure I want to target that creature.
Justice is served.
I think my pinnacles are good. The pinnacles are awful, man. I'm just gonna hope Rides In works. Because the amount of overcommitment I gotta do next turn with like the Caretaker's talent and stuff is pretty immense. Also, I kind of assumed if they played this, I would be in the clear a bit. Although they are getting a bit closer to just being able to play Omniscience, obviously. I do get to exile that with Kaya for free, which is pretty sweet. Sure. I do get to exile this. Got 4, 7, 8 now. Strategic Betrayal's pretty solid. Could just answer their entire graveyard, but let's do this. I don't have a Ketramose. Deadly Cover-Up's actually pretty huge. I think, in my opinion. Thankfully, it did that. I was just clicking on the screen. My bad. My bad, game. One turn here. Keep the full grip. This card not necessarily that great. It's going to be a long workaround to get through this game, to be honest with you. Sure. Like, how many effects can they have here, right? None is the answer. They have none. How many effects can they have here? None. None is the answer. They can't have any. Do they have any good card? They just concede? Oh, where are we going? Oh boy, 2 rides in on the fact that I forgot that I could just use rides in and almost punted that game right into the atmosphere, man. That's crazy. But we'll take it. This is a pretty good deal. We'll keep. And a mulligan. Our opponent's aggro, right? Smile. Any smilers? Any happy campers? I don't know if to keep that or not. That's the hardest part about surveilling. Sometimes it's pretty obvious. Other times it's not. I'm not seam ripping that. I don't care. You won't catch me tripping. I might seam rip that though. Maybe I should have seam ripped this. Now that I saw what they did with it. That's an enchantment, right? Yeah, so that does nothing. I think I'm just on the train of play the swamp, play at Ketramose, and start getting that card draw value going. Obviously, Caretaker's Talent is a very good engine for that stuff. But getting Ketramose up and then pinnacling a board where they might put more creatures down to draw an extra card, or I go Betrayal and seam rip something, and then draw 2 cards, which is obviously also good. If they Shelter by Ghost, then I get the Strategic Betrayal, getting rid of it anyway. Obviously, they're going to get more draws potentially, or like a card they want on top. Zorline's a pretty good card to keep on top, but to put it in the graveyard, okay. They have to have another one, right? This card's so sick, though. Yeah, I'll take some damage. It's fine. Sure. I'll just get rid of this. Is it worth it? Not sure. It feels worth it, to be honest. Probably should have seen Dripped it earlier, to be honest, but I don't know. It's just that weird thing. Sure. 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 Deal, deal, deal. Exile it in the other copy. I don't really have a way. It's so close. With it being that close, let's go ahead and do this. I want my mana to be right on time. Another Pinnacle. And my opponent leaves. Alright, cool. Probably didn't play that on the correct curve. I kind of forget the one card's actually legal. Amalia. I, for whatever reason, always think that card rotates. I called it out the other day in terms of a good play. I think his card's always gone, and it's just not. And I was like, yeah, why would I seam rip this? Which then now makes me look really dumb because I end up using it later. But yeah, no, I forgot about Amalia, and it drawing extra cards was a bit tough. And then at that point, I felt committed to the Pinnacle, so I didn't want to play it. And then I just talked myself out of it. I don't know. All right, we just go first here. We keep. Pretty dope. Just play our Surveil land, play our Conceal, go Carrot Cake. We'll keep that land. It's a pretty good draw overall. Maybe not the best draw in the world, but a good draw overall. Menace. Not really going to cause... Not going to really ruffle my feathers. Authority. Deal. So now here's the question. I'll probably just get full value, right? I probably just like... play Authority, play Fountain Port, sack my Carrot Cake, gain the life and stuff. I kind of like that plan, even though it seems like they have a burn spell here. Because the problem is, if I Pinnacle, it does exile my Carrot Cake, and my opponent's not doing that. Come on now. Oh! Get down, Mr. President! He's shooting a strike! Deal. Nova Hellkite. 3 mana. Kill my 1/1. Yeah, dude, deal. I'll just do this. Bottom that. And then I'll probably just shock, play Kaya, exile this. I think. Seems reasonable to me. They obviously can answer Kaya, but, you know. I understand I can attack and get 1 damage, but let's be honest. That's not really our win con. Now, if Kaya lives this turn, huge. Carrot Cake comes down, our Caretaker's Talent comes down. We make a do with Kaya. We draw some cards. If not, I have to do it with a Fountain Port, and that's not fun. I'm not a fan.
I'm going for a walk. Alone.
So we can't really do anything anyway, so we might as well play this tapped and put it on white. Enter tapped. And then we go good old Caretaker's Talent. And then we're just immediately ready to make a token. Draw a card. Make another token. Draw an additional card. Alright. Sure did. Fine. I'm okay with that. Sure. I'll allow it. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead, dude. It's weird, man, because I kind of have to get rid of this, because I'm going to draw so many cards, I think, in comparison, that it's going to basically do the 4 damage and stuff for me anyway, or to me. I don't care. Second Authority is a option. Go here. No. Play here. We could pump our stuff up. But I'm not gonna. Here. Probably cracked a carrot cake here. I understand Hellkite's good, but we would have just taken 3 damage off of this dude, right? Which comes out to roughly being the same damage here, to be honest. Sure. I'll gain 2. This also exiles the Sanctuary, by the way. So them actually doing this is kind of a mistake. Which is a bit absurd. But let's crack here. No. I think not. I just crack him for 9? I don't think so. I think I do this. Crack him for 3. Pinnacle it up. Weirdly exile on their land. I guess I didn't realize I just need to level that once, which is a bit weird. I could take 4 here. 2 authorities, gain 2 on any other creature they play. This is indestructible. I have 4 active. We have a pretty good card to answer this. And Strategic Betrayal would be probably the best. Because then we get to exile 3 more cards, and then this is active because there's 1, 2, and 3 here. Obviously, they could abrade this, I suppose. But then I gain 4 life and then get this back. Actually, I only gained 2 life because this goes back to being a creature. This isn't answerable by their deck at all, I believe. This card's in exile in general. Whenever one of our cards put in exile from a graveyard. Yeah, that's all of them, I guess. I didn't realize it was exactly all of them. What a draw. All right, Mr. Monored. I'd like to figure out how on earth you ever beat this. All damage would be dealt to you. Dealt to an enchanted creature. I think this loses 1, pay 1 life. So you can't get around paying a life. That I do know. So you'll see here paying puts me to 12. I'm down to draw a card. Maybe not the greatest card of all time to draw, but I drew it. It's my card. I own this card now. It's my Godless Shrine. It is kind of funny that the Infinity Shock lands have been out for quite a while, and then they just work right into an Edge of Eternity so perfectly. Sure. Yeah. Ketramose is pretty cool like that. I mean, to be fair, opponent, like, I understand you messed up. Nobody plays this, bro. Like, you have all the right in the world to mess up. If you said today that you're going to queue up and play against Ketramose Chosen, where I take 0 damage, I'd call you a liar. I wouldn't believe you one bit. Here, I really don't know what they have. I guess a enchantment destruction, maybe. You stop me from drawing, I suppose. Sure. I can activate this, which is pretty cool. I'll just pass here. I'll pass. Go ahead. Messed me up once. Not a fan. Ketramose can't do nothing. He's trying his best, but he just can't do it. I'm really actually a little afraid that they have a card in their deck that can stop this. But I just don't know of one. I cannot think of a card that red has. I mean, obviously they can do destruction or whatever, but activate here. One reason Pinnacle can be argued to be better than temporary lockdown, but honestly, probably not. I like conditionally better on some fronts just because, you know, those cards get put in the graveyard, so Ketramose is farther away from activating, which is a bit tough. Always. I'd like to make my 4/4s. And honestly, we'll just go ahead and shoot this bird down. We'll get it down. Shoot him out of the sky. Exiled. Ketramose does lose 1 life, which also pays around it, or gets around it. And again, at a full standstill now with our mono red opponent. Just nothing they can really do here. We stalker that makes sense. Take 4. Just maybe not entirely sure if they have a draw or something that can get around Ketramose. They can keep on going. I have 10 on board now because I get to exile their whole graveyard with Strategic Betrayal. But kind of the idea and the ideal matchup, unfortunately for them, that we just get to play this weird kind of removal control game like we did yesterday a bit. But then we get to play a Ketramose and chosen by Valgavoth to kind of lock up games like this where they're not really necessarily able to do anything. Obviously, other decks have answers, but we'll talk about them in the outro here. All right, so here with the outro, I do want to show one thing because I do find it funny. You can see I got rid of all my decks. I was getting pretty tilted. I played mono blue, which was recommended to me, and unfortunately, not that the deck felt bad, but I kept finding myself on the draw once again. Went and looked at the statistics. It was 5 games in a row on the draw again. I looked at the Orzhov deck yesterday that I played. In 12 games, I was on the draw 8 more times after following like a 14 draw streak. So just playing games has been hard because I'm just playing what seems like 80% of my games on the draw. And it just makes it tough to kind of, you know, win consistently or find a groove when you're just feeling you're behind the whole time. But that's beyond that. I just wanted to kind of address some stuff where people recommended a deck. I will try it again later. I'm just not right now. With that said, we were on Orzhov Control. Kind of. It's like really like a prison deck in a way. But I have 2 major points, and I found myself rambling for like 4 extra minutes when I didn't really have to be. One, if you're playing against any form of control, blue-white, sometimes we can bully blue-white because we have Fountain Ports in our deck. For example, like this just keeps making tokens. Blue-white can't deal with that. Beast is a little bit tough, but whatever. These are the cards that help you beat control. If you have Carrot Cake, Caretaker's Talent, and Fountain Ports online, you can stay in that control match. If you somehow stick to one of Kaya, obviously it's a one of. Sometimes you see it in every game. Sometimes you never see it. Sometimes you forget it's in your deck. Who knows? But if you have these cards, you can stick around to play against control. But if you don't, and they kind of like stock up and get to untap and you don't really get to do anything and they're not tapping out ever, I promise the 1 point on the ladder is not worth your time. Just concede and move on. I know that seems weird to be like, why would we play a deck that has an auto loss to a matchup? Well, it's because we're trying to make the entire other percentage of the meta a very high win rate. Whereas, like, so say blue-white control, we have a 20% win rate, right? Because we have Fountain Ports stuff online. And honestly, that might even be generous. But we have a 70% win rate against the aggro decks, right? Which, obviously, 70% still lower than 80. Well, we're losing 80% of our games, but winning 70. But that's just thinking about control in the vacuum. That control is the most played deck on the ladder, which is definitely not. And especially on the fact that we can still technically win some. And honestly, our aggro matchup might be better than that. But aggro is so prevalent. You have rabbits, you have mono red, you have Boros, you have blue black. Sometimes it's just an aggro deck. You have mono black skeletons. You have that black like mid-rangey pile that's with the Sissels and stuff like that, or Cecils and whatnot. You can play the Semic aggro deck that's doing the counters and things like that. aggro is by far the most represented archetype and decks played on the ladder. So if we win at 70% win rate, say that turns out to be, I'm going to just say whatever, right? Say we play 100 games and of the control, right? 100 games, we win 20 of them and we lose 80. I know that's pretty high variance, and I'm being very like loose with my percentages and stuff here. But let's say we win against 70% against aggro, but we play aggro for 300 games, right? But now like that win rate looks a lot different. Or say you do like 500 games, or you do, I don't know, 1,000 games. You're probably not gonna have 100 to 1,000 games of aggro. But then you're running into like 700 games won in comparison to like 300 games lost, which is a crazy win record. And even at the point, if you lose 200 games against control, blue-white specifically, maybe Jeskai, even though they're not that represented, say you lose 200 games against control, you lost 500 games, you won 700, right? So it's that weird thing. I know those percentages are nowhere near like incredibly accurate, but we all know that you run into aggro a ton more than you do control, and that's what this deck is trying to do, and that is what we're trying to beat when we go on the ladder. And if you don't like control, like playing against it is kind of the best deck for you, just because you barrel it and you're like, oh, if you're a control matchup and I don't have these exact cards, I will just move on and I don't even feel bad. Like you're not. We are hunting for decks. We are hunting for the aggro player. Unfortunately for them, we're lurking. We're the monster under the bed. We're there. We want, every time they show up, we hit them with frying pan. Okay, every time. Like it's just, that's what we want to do. But with all that said, I don't really have a ton to say. I will say the board wipe count could probably go up. I thought I had 2 Ultimas this entire time. Only had 2 deadly cover-ups to kind of exile some stuff. You could also, I didn't get quite that greedy with Ketramose because I was kind of relying on Caretaker's talent. You could, in theory, just also cut this plan. I just like the fact that I can play Caretaker's talent over a Ketramose in those games where like mono red's going to be a factor. I don't want Ketramose to necessarily deal extra damage against me when I'm trying to draw cards, and I want to use Caretaker's talent to draw into this kind of combo before I actually feel comfortable playing it, you know what I mean? But you could also, if you think Graveyard's really good, we have a couple of options where you can play Rest in Peace, which is decently good options, right? You can play Rest in Peace, or you can play the 1 mana artifact that I can't think of now off the top of my head. Ghost Vacuum, that one. So you can kind of get to a spot where maybe, you know, I guess I don't want to do it that way. I'm up here. Sideboard, my webcam doesn't cover it. But you can either choose between Ghost Vacuum or Rest in Peace if you want just more permanent removal, and maybe even cut Strategic Betrayals and play something like a Shoot the Sheriff or something. I'm not entirely sure. I do like playing Strategic Betrayal right now because it does get around those like overprotected Shelter by Ghost characters that can happen pretty often. Obviously, if we have a Ketramose in play, then one of the main ways to get rid of it is going to be a Shelter by Ghost, so having a way to get around that is obviously pretty awesome. The other card you could maybe run is like a Nowhere to Run, so they don't have like hexproofs and stuff, rides in, things like that we just don't have to worry about. We can just exile right through. But regardless, I kind of like how the deck played a bit today. I do think there might be a more tight list out there that you can run, but it felt good. Kaya felt good. I didn't play Elspeth because we're on 24 lands, and 24 lands gets like really weirdly tricky sometimes. And the curve kind of looks like this, which is a pretty decent looking curve overall, where you just like some 1-drops, pretty heavy on 2, got solid 3s, 1 being a board wipe. You know, sometimes we'll have 3 drops in our hand. It's going to happen, but that's why we have 4 Fountain Ports. So if it is Caretaker's Talents, we can kind of get around it. Ketramose can be a dead card sometimes. So obviously that's scary. And then Chosen by Valgavoth can definitely be a kind of scary choice. I did see, is it Swayze? I also could be pronouncing that wrong, by the way. I'm sorry if I am. What's it? No, it's Green, right? What's the, no, there's no way it's Abzan. Indestructible, right? I think I saw him doing something similar. Destructible and then multicolored with. Yeah, he was playing this. Is what I think, because it's also indestructible. I'm just not a fan of the 2-1, and I feel like anytime I'd play this, nowhere to run would become super relevant. The thing about Ketramose is it starts off as a 4-4, so you get to kind of dodge nowhere to run in a way. And then this is obviously good because you can get a ton of value off of it. So I'm not saying that this is a bad option. You could definitely do this instead. I just didn't necessarily fall in love with it, I guess, when I was watching it. But I didn't necessarily get to watch the whole thing. So obviously it could have been doing a lot of cool stuff. He definitely makes a lot of cool videos. So I don't doubt that it's not a fine thing to do. But the outro is long. I'm done there. That's all I got to say. It's a cool deck. I think it's fun. If you have the cards, you should definitely try it out. Because it is one of those decks that weirdly isn't necessarily that bad. I will say it's a bit expensive here. But honestly, if you played any type of decks, this is going to be a 4 of that you already have. I would argue that Authority's probably cards you already have, and these are probably cards you already have, like this. These 4 rares will only be played in a deck probably with Ketramose, and these are the most sketch cards to craft. So if you have these, this deck's worth trying. Just play these in different variations if you don't have them. Like, you don't have to play 4 Caretaker's Talent. I enjoy playing 4. You don't have to. If you don't have 3 Authorities, just play 2 and then play another board wipe or something, you know? It's just... the world's a canvas. Only happy accident. Bob Ross to the promised land. So, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.